the.
Got it. Okay, recording. Okay, I think we're good to go, Sarah. Thank you very much. I'll wait a couple more minutes for people to join. Okay, I'll go and get this meeting started now. So good evening and thank you all for joining us today for the Utility Undergrounding District 1A Stratford Court South construction phase neighborhood meeting. We're all very excited to have this project proceed into construction, and we're here today to provide an overview, objectives, and goals of the construction phase. As you may already know, my name is Martin Boyd. I'm a principal engineer in the Public Works Department for the City of Del Mar. And more specifically, I'm the undergrounding program manager. So today we'll be covering the following meeting topics. We'll start with an introduction of the project team. Then we'll move to a construction phase overview as well as what to expect. And then we'll cover a timeline of the construction phase. And then some quick items I want to cover before we proceed. We are holding tonight's neighborhood meeting over Zoom because the town hall is currently undergoing equipment replacement and repairs. This meeting is being recorded, and I will post this on our website for others to reference after. And then the order is we will cover the presentation that was prepared by the team, and at the end we'll reserve questions for the end, and I'll cover those instructions once we get there, how to do that through Zoom. Okay. And so now we'll move on to project team introductions. I've already introduced myself, Martin Boyd, principal engineer and undergrounding program manager, as well as other city staff, as we'll have Joe Bride, director of public works, will be working with me throughout the construction phase. He's not here today, but we'll be working together. And then we have our consultant team. So utility specialists will be joining us to help with any technical issues during construction, as well as we have KCM Group, our construction managers, and I'll let them provide their introductions now.
Hi, I am Miguel Renteria. I am an architect and work for KCM Group. I am the project manager, and I will be overseeing the construction process, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
Great. My name is John Stevenson, and I'm a project manager here at KCM Group. And I'll be stationed out in the field for the duration of the project to be the eyes and ears of KCM and the City of Del Mar. And any of your concerns while I'm in the field will be graciously accepted. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'll move on to citywide utility undergrounding program overview, which I'm sure you've heard multiple times, but I'll cover it quickly. So this has been a long-time community priority, and a Measure Q 1 cent sales tax was passed in November 2016, which funds the program. And an advisory committee, specifically the undergrounding program, Project Advisory Committee, UPAC, was appointed in spring 2018, and they developed criteria and prioritization for the different districts that were identified at that time. And specifically, there are 8 districts at various phases of completion. And thus far, only the Tiwa district, which was a pilot project, was completed. It was a small district. And so 1A, Stratford Court South, is the first larger district, more of the standard size district that's proceeding into construction. And we're excited for that and hoping to have a lot of lessons learned for this for projects moving forward. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Miguel to present a bit more about Stratford Court.
Thank you, Martin. District 1A, Stratford Court, is one of the 8 districts included in the undergrounding program, which the City Council approved on July 12, 2021. It was prioritized based on density of homes in relation to the number of poles. These are the district boundaries: 4th Street on the south, 12th Street on the north, Camino del Mar on the east, and Ocean Avenue on the west. These boundaries have been carefully considered to ensure the best for our community. It comprises 56 poles, 7,000 linear feet of overhead, 11,000 linear feet of trenching, and the homeowners will underground individual service laterals within private property. 64 homes out of 227 parcels require lateral undergrounding, with a total of 464 residences. Since one of the most popular questions, I'm sure, is about timing, let's start with a high-level overview, because I am sure that you have some questions. When will you be starting construction? What are the poles? When are the poles going to be gone? Here's a high-level overview of the construction timeline. Note, this is the anticipated construction schedule. The city will notify the residents as each work zone starts and ends. For example, step 1 is the construction of the main line trenching with a duration of 7.5 months from August 2024 through March of 2025, spring of 2025. And we have 3 work zones: the south, central, and north portions, each with a duration of 2.5 months, starting August 2024 through March 2025. And last but not least, the utility agency wire pull and pole removal with a duration of 9 months from winter of 2024 through summer, fall of 2025. Now, the construction phase. The construction phase consists of 3 tasks. Task number 1 is the mainline trench. The construction will be done by the city contractor. Task number 2, lateral undergrounding by homeowners. And task 3, wire pull and pole removal by utility agencies. Let's remember that the district has 3 work zones, each with 3 tasks. The City Council approved the start of construction. Construction of the street mainline will consist of trenching, conduits, vaults, handholds, and equipment pads within the right-of-way. The city contractor will be responsible for traffic control and private property access. And they will provide notification as construction is nearby and when access is affected. I would like to introduce John Stevenson. He is your on-site construction manager. John is available to answer any questions you may have. John?
Thank you, Miguel. Can you go to the next screen, please, Mark? So a real high-level overview of what is expected and what you can be looking for. This is an example of an electrical drop line to this riser up on your roof. And this indicates that the power does come from this drop line. and that you're going to need to hire an electrician to put this power point of connection out to the city right away to connect up with the undergrounding that we will be doing. Next slide, please. And this is a good example of a communications drop line. This could be AT&T or Century or Cox or whatnot. And these also will need to be undergrounded in conduits going out to the PL. So as Miguel mentioned, there's 64 properties within District 1A that need underground service laterals. The letters have been sent out to each homeowner with details for their property, including a sketch that talks about a suggested alignment for your conduit. And you should have received a service order from SDG&E required by the electrician for lateral installation. And at this point, you should have contacted an electrician for cost proposals on lateral installations and panel upgrades if necessary. And so the main thing on this slide is that we would like you to begin your lateral undergrounding after we set your point of connection for your lot. In other words, at that point, you will know exactly where you need to go to, and you can contact your chosen electrician and start your lateral installation again after the city contractor's work is complete. And they have stubbed out, and that's your point of connection. So the city construction manager, that's me, will coordinate with the homeowners on the timing of the lateral installation. In other words, I will be there daily on Stratford with the crews, helping in any manner of ways to make this go forward in a streamlined and enjoyable manner, if possible. And lastly, the homeowner's electrician will be responsible for pulling permits and coordinating with SDG&E for inspections as required during this private side lateral installation. So what basically that means is that you've got to get a quote from your electrician and then have him pull a permit and then comply with the terms of the permit. Well, this is the lateral undergrounding by homeowners after the city contractor construction of main line. Homeowners need to be ready to contract. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me, I was going backwards. This is an example of the equipment that you may see out on the street. We have handholds, transformers, pedestals, retaining walls if necessary, and proposed SDG&E terminators. So these are all the types of equipment and devices that will be out on the street, facilitating the undergrounding of the electricity and the communications. And this is a chart that speaks to work zone accessibility and traffic control during the undergrounding. So we've got two-way or one-way traffic that will be available depending upon the work zone. For example, 4th Street in work zone 1, Stratford Court, work zone 1 through 3, work zone 2 has got 9th Street, work zone 3, 10th and 12th Street. Now, there may be times when we need to close a street for a certain amount of time in order to get the main line in which case we'll be notifying the homeowners and making the best arrangements we can with them so that they are not impacted in a negative manner. So again, you can read through this. Work zone 1, Seacliff Way, work zone 2, Sherry Avenue, Little Orphan Alley, and Shippey Lane, work zone 3, Melanie Lane, Penny Lane, and Sea Orbit Lane. With that, I think it goes back to Martin.
I think you're finishing this slide, John.
Oh, so this is an example of the power poles that will be removed. And anyway, it talks about the utilities will only pull wires after the homeowner laterals are complete. What's that mean? That the SDG&E is not going to pull any new power through the lateral conduit until all of the homeowners have undergrounded on their private property and have been signed off, and had their permits signed off. And at that point, SDG&E will energize the new underground system. And thereafter, SDG&E will be removing the existing poles after the energizing. Now, this brings me to a lot of you that I've met out there. I went around collecting SDG&E right to entry forms, and that's specifically for SDG&E when they're energizing the system to be able to go into your property and hook up the new power lines into your panel. So I want to thank all of you in advance for being so expedient in signing those forms. Anyway, as Miguel stated, the timing for the pole removal is starting the summer of 2025, dependent upon homeowner lateral installation completion.
Okay, thank you, John. So now I'll go ahead and cover a summary of the project timeline. Thus far, we just completed the contractor award and construction and contracting process. Specifically on July 8th, 2024, the City Council awarded the construction contract to Tykert Utilities. So you'll be seeing them out in the field. Currently, they're preparing for construction, so they're undergoing mobilization and ordering of materials. So they're hoping to get started out there in August, but we'll be coordinating with them, and those work zone 1 residents will be receiving notifications once they start. And so here you'll see, again, the summary of mainline trenching construction by city is anticipated to be 2.5 months per work zone for a total of 7.5 months running from August 2024 to spring 2025. And here I broke down the homeowner lateral installation schedule by work zone. So you'll see each work zone, you'll have about 2 months to complete. And so work zone 1 would be October to December 2024. Work zone 2 would be January to February 2025. And work zone 3 would be March to May 2025. And then the utility agency wire pull would follow at the end, as John mentioned. And this is dependent on homeowner lateral construction completion. And again, this will be 3 months per work zone approximately for a total of 9 months, running from winter 2024 to summer, fall of 2025. And so what can you do now? So if you would like, you could provide the city your contact phone number and email via the website form at the following link, or via email to up@delmar.ca.us. Also, you could register on the city's website to notify me, which you could see on the front page of the city's website, and you would specifically enroll for UUD 1A Stratford Court South project. Please remember to set your spam blocker to allow mail from listserv@civicplus.com. And just a quick note that we did send a notify me end of last week to those individuals we have emails from. So we've our email list that we have so far, we've inputted them into the notify me, so you should have received that. But we will continue to use this as an electronic form of communication in addition to the contractor's responsibilities for physical or hard copy flyers or door hangers to property owners. And if you have an overhead service, and we have communicated with these individuals already, you should select a licensed electrician and be ready to contract and install your lateral and panel when required. So at this point, I'll open it up to questions, and you can ask questions by selecting the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen, or by dialing *9 if you joined by phone. And then I will slowly go through the participants and allow you to ask your questions. So let me do that. Give me a second. I'm asking Jim, you can go ahead and ask your question. Hi, Jim Hyman. Okay, I don't know if we have Jim right now, so Jim, if you have a question, you can come back later. I am asking Karen to ask your question now. Karen Lair?
Yes, hi. Could you go back to to slide number 12? It went quickly and it looked like there was a to-do on there for all of us and I just couldn't see it fast enough.
Sure. And just a reminder, I will post this on the city's website, but I'm glad to go over this right here. So this is slide 12.
Okay, if we didn't get a service order from SDG&E, does it mean that, so we know for the property that I have, that where I am, that we have to underground, but I think it's more it's cable lines. So it's telecom lines versus electric lines. So does that mean that we would not have gotten a service order from SDG&E?
That's correct. I don't believe you would have gotten a service order from SDG&E, but I can confirm that for you. And let me confirm that for all those individuals that we know are telecom only. I'll note you here, but we'll also look through our files for the telecom only individuals.
Okay, and I think it may be I think it's internet that we have versus telecom, but at any rate, I don't believe it's power.
Right. And I believe the service orders only go to those who have an SDG&E connection.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for your question. Let's see. And now I'm moving on to Kevin Bloomer.
The mic is on mute.
How about now?
Yep, we hear you.
Great. Hey, just from an engineering or structural perspective, maybe you can explain to me why only 64 homes need this underground service lateral arrangement. I mean, it sounds like, I guess you're lucky if you're not one of the 64, but doesn't everybody have access that's overhead, and don't we all need it? Or how does it work from an engineering perspective that the rest of us don't need that? If you could try to put some color on that, appreciate it. Thank you.
So historically, so there's a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons is historically, it's been a building permit requirement for new development to underground for quite some time. So some individuals may have already underground as part of that process. And then the other reason is I do not believe when the original infrastructure was installed that every property needed to be installed overhead. At this moment, I can't clarify the details of that. I don't know if John
Okay.
or Miguel, you understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
I know some were installed underground initially, probably as well. But a lot of them have been undergrounded through
I see.
new building permits.
I see. Okay. Thanks a bunch.
Yep. Constantini, if you would like to ask your question.
Yes. Number one, I'm located at 210 Fort Street, and I'm also the HOA manager or president for the HOA Stratford Woods, which is basically Fort Street and to the intersection in Stratford Court where we have 5 units down there. Is there a specific start date for Fort Street?
So 4th Street is in phase 1 or work zone 1. So that is anticipated to be the sooner date. And currently our contractor is estimating start time in August. But again, they're like I said, they're still gearing up for that. So once they know the start date for sure, they'll be sending out hard copy flyers or door hangers prior to construction.
So if in fact we haven't been notified of dealing with laterals, that I assume that means we don't have to worry about it, correct?
Correct. If you've never signed a permit to enter or you've never received a communication from us, then you do not have a service lateral. And we did obtain all the permit to enter, so you should be aware if you are one of those individuals that has a surface lateral.
And finally, is the trenching gonna be done in the streets? Because I mean, I can imagine a traffic nightmare on 4th Street and parking.
Right. So yes, trenching is done in the streets and traffic control. I mean, there's going to be a lot of traffic control for this project. Unfortunately, the best place to put the joint trench is in the street. So there will be a lot of coordination in regards to traffic control.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. And if you could lower your hand once you're done asking questions, they'll help me out here. Okay. Thank you. So, Di Rebucci. Sorry if I said
Yeah,
that
that's
wrong.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, great. So I actually had somebody take a look at the lateral responsibility that we had, but it wasn't an electrician, it was a contractor. My question is, if I hire an electrician, will they also be in charge of the trenching that we're responsible for? Do most electricians do that? Or do I need to hire another company for the trenching?
So a lot of times, electricians can also do that work.
Mhm.
So you can ask your electrician. It may also be dependent on, what exactly you have to trench through and what the electrician is capable of doing. If you're trenching through driveway, depending on what they can do, it'll be dependent on them. So I would coordinate with them. But yes, a lot of electricians I'm aware of can install the trench. I don't know if John, Miguel, you want to clarify on that anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer. Some electricians do their own trenching, and others don't want to do it. So I encourage you to check more than one contractor. When you call 3 contractors at least, you will get a lot of intel from them, and you will have more options.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and now we have Hanu Mandru. Can you go ahead?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, it's Drew Katie. Regarding the laterals that homeowners are responsible for, will the electrician we hire do any of the lateral cable pulls from the street, or will SDG&E and the telecom companies do all those cable pulls after our electrician gets signed off for their trenching and whatever related service they do to establish those laterals?
You want me to take that, Martin?
Sure, go for it.
So once you're signed off and connected to SDG&E's network, so to speak, at the point of connection, they will come out and do what's called a wire pull from that connection up into your panel and make the proper connection into your panel. And then they will, just before they do that, they will have dropped or disconnected the drop line from your panel.
Mhm.
So there'll be a very small margin of interruption of power.
Got it.
Yeah,
And
to
sorry,
clarify that, yeah, that's SDG and the telecom are doing the wire pull. Your electrician installs the conduit.
right. So the telecommunications company will be doing the pull for those cables for
Right.
that service. Okay, great. That helps.
Okay, thank you for your question. Now moving on to Alan Kate.
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, my question is, when these street closures are going to happen, exactly how is everyone going to be notified? Are there going to be door hangers or just emails to the people that are on the email list, or letters to the owners but not to the apartment dwellers? What exactly is going to happen?
Sure. I don't know, Miguel, you want to tackle this question?
Yeah, well, the general contractor together with John, they will coordinate, giving you an early notice. At least we would like to aim at 3 to 5 working days notice, and we will do the door hanging, explaining how the traffic control will work, what lanes will be closed. And John will also be there on site full time every day to answer any questions. John will be in charge of coordinating and making sure that those door hangers are posted well in advance so that you know exactly what the expectations are in regards to traffic control.
And just to add on to that, so the contractor will have them post kind of the door hangers or notices, the physical ones. And then the city, through Notify Me, will also send out a communication just to let everyone know of the anticipated traffic control. Did I answer your question, Alan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your question. And now moving on to John. John, if you have a question, you can ask it.
He's muted.
Okay, I'm not sure if John's, oh, here we go.
Oh, I am. All right, am I there? Yes.
Yep, I hear you, John.
Okay. First of all, this has really been helpful, and I'm sure glad that you people did this. And some of my questions have been answered already. I have made an assumption now on the basis of what's transpired so far that since we signed off on a permit to enter, then we're okay there. We've assumed we've taken care of our responsibility that far. Couple other questions. So one is on the undergrounding. Do we do it from the city's right of way, or how does that go? How do we go all the way to the line, or what?
Yeah, great question. So basically the city's responsibilities will be installing the main line in the street. And for each of those property owners that do have an overhead lateral or service, we'll be installing a connection from that main line to the property line.
Okay.
So then the homeowner's responsibilities from your panel to the property line connection, the point of connection there.
Okay, so that's proper, even though there's right of way, the city has right of way on our property, so to speak. It was still
Well, so when I say right of way versus the right of way and property line is the same thing for us.
it's
Yeah.
not for us.
Well, I mean, we could talk to you about your specific situation if you have an easement or something, but so
Yeah, we do.
okay, so we'd be running to the property line, I guess, but let me what's your address? And then we can reach out to you just to look at that a bit closer.
Sure, 1145 Stratford Court.
Got it. And maybe John, you could reach out to John.
Sure.
John will reach out to you, John.
Sure, okay. Okay. Other thing is on the telecommunications part of this, how do we notify them, or how does that go?
No, so basically what will happen is we'll install the main line, then we'll coordinate with the homeowners to install their lateral via your hired contractor or electrician. And then once the homeowners are done, all of them have to be done in the work zone. We'll notify SDG&E and the telecom, and they'll come through and do all of those wire pulls and connections at the same time per work zone.
Okay, so we're responsible again on where the undergrounding part, or the cable to the street?
No, in your private property. basically
Oh,
outside the
into the
street.
house.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You'll be running it from your house through the front of your property to the point of connection, which is typically behind the road and or sidewalk and or landscape strip. So somewhere
Okay.
in there, right? So you won't have to cut through the asphalt.
That's good.
John,
Yeah.
let me give you something that maybe we haven't touched on. Your trench that has the SDG&E conduit in it can also have the same, or the conduit for the communications. So we're not asking you to dig 2 trenches. You
Okay,
just have the 1 trench, and you'll put your conduit in for SDG&E, and then you'll put it in for whatever communications you want to have.
okay, so I know how to contact an electrician, but who do I contact to put a line in for the cable?
So we'll coordinate that for you.
Okay,
So John will go through and make sure everyone installs their lateral. And once we know everyone in each work zone installs it, we'll contact the companies and they'll go through and do everyone's wire pull at the same time, including the city's main line.
okay. Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah,
John, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for your question. And if you've already asked your question and you don't have another question, you can lower your hand. So I have Tom Grindle. Tom, if
Hi,
you have
yeah, can you hear
I
me?
hear you. Yep.
2 questions. We have a full number of service drops going to it in our front yard. And we're curious to know where we can see the plans to what's going to ultimately end up there. You know, is there a pedestal? Is it flat? You know, what the end product's going to look like?
So, do you have a service lateral?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a service ladder for 30 years.
I mean, do you have to install a new one?
No.
Oh, okay,
No.
I see. So basically, we included an exhibit on the website called a new equipment exhibit that will show kind of a simpler way to kind of see where the different structures are being installed throughout. So essentially, that new equipment exhibit will show the above ground equipment. So that'll include the transformers or pedestals or that type of infrastructure. In terms of handholds that are flush with the ground, that won't show that, but those you won't really notice as much because there'll be a box on the ground that you can walk over.
Okay, fair enough. One other quick question. So I can look on the website and I can find a link to that diagram or that elevation or plan.
Right. And that'll be under the district maps and tools of the undergrounding program website.
Great, thank you. Thanks for doing this too.
And yeah, of course.
The other question is, we have construction going on just to the east of us. They're building an ADU. They're going to remodel their house. It's overhead right now. They're required by the city to go underground. It seems ludicrous that they're required to go underground, connect that, and then a month later have a new connection put in. How do we address that? Because I don't want our front yard ripped up again for another conduit to be run.
Right, it's a good question. So a lot of those individuals that have building permits currently in the process or in construction, we actually coordinated with them during the project. And so our project will actually tie into the new service. Like we're doing for everyone that currently has an underground service, we'll tie into those typically in the right of way.
Okay, great. Thank you. And final question, I assume when you are going to do road closures, our only access to our home is off of Melanie Way. We're still going to have access. I would assume you guys will put steel plates down or something while you're trenching.
That's something that we'll need to coordinate more with the contractor, but there's a chance the alleys could have closures depending. And I know it's going to be very difficult, but I think at the least we'll try to have some sort of pedestrian access, but that's something as we go down each alley, we'll make sure to coordinate with you. And so the contractor's currently developing traffic control plans, and so we'll see what they come up with. But those, I mean, the honest truth is the alleys are very tight. So it's gonna be pretty difficult to construct down them.
No, I get that, and I understand vehicle traffic, but if it's only pedestrian access to your property, you kind of need it.
Yeah, so pedestrian access, I think we'll do our best to coordinate that, at least in the alleys.
Okay, thank you, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for your questions. Okay. And I have Janet Blaze. If you have a question, you can ask it now.
Hi, you mentioned being contacted via Notify Me. Is that the same as the listserv, or is that something separate that I should make sure we're signed up for?
Yeah, so if you've, for all the homeowners that previously provided us their emails, I automatically added you to the Notify Me, and you should have received the listserv notification last Friday, I believe. So if you got that, you're already on it.
Okay, great. And then just a second question. Is there on the website, a list of the affected properties that have the lateraling requirements?
No, we don't have that on the website. I guess there's no specific need to have it on the website. Is there a specific reason you're asking for that?
No, I don't think that we're affected. I just wanted to double check. So,
And we can do that for you. So what's your address, and John or Miguel can verify with you.
151 12th Street, the condos there in the Pony Surfer.
Okay. And likely, if you haven't received any coordination with us in regards to laterals, you have none. But I'll let Miguel or John reach out to you. Hopefully we have your contact. So
Oh, yeah. Good.
What was that, Miguel?
Yeah, we will contact you.
Okay, if we have your contact, we'll contact you. Or you can also send us an email at up@delmar.ca.us, and we'll for sure respond to that.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you for your question. Okay. I guess.
Right.
So some of these individuals have previously asked questions. So if you do not have a question, you can lower your hand, but I'll go through you since you have your hand up. Just to make sure if you have another question. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Hello, did you have another question?
Is it Hanuman Drew? Yes.
Yeah.
One
Yes.
more little detail. The trenching on Stratford, since we're taking our laterals out to the edge of our properties, does that mean you're going to trench both sides of Stratford?
Yeah, so that's correct. Well, essentially the main line will run in the asphalt of Stratford, and usually we try to keep it on the edge of the road, but depending where utilities are at, it could vary. And then yes, for those laterals, we have to run them both sides of Stratford.
Okay,
So
well, so our lateral coming out to the street we're responsible to our property line, right?
correct. Yeah,
So
we'll put in.
you're going to actually bore a lateral from the main line over to our lateral?
Correct.
Wow, so
Correct.
that would chew up the whole width of the road, pretty much.
It's going to be a lot of construction on the road.
Mhm.
And I will say Stratford Court, I don't know if you've heard in previous city council meetings, but there's plans to repave Stratford Court
Good.
after this because it's already in a deteriorated condition. There's been plans to do that. It won't be specifically as part of this project, but it'll be a project soon to follow the undergrounding.
Got it. Yeah, our particular block is in desperate need. We have some pretty big holes. Okay, well, that gives me a sense of what we're up against here. Thank you, and thanks for doing this
Yeah,
information.
no problem. All right, thank you for your question. Okay. Hi, Karen. I'm not sure if you have do you have another question?
Yeah, I did have another question. Thank you for asking. So I had contacted your office some time ago I had heard that you would put forth a list of contractors that were approved with the city to do this type of work. And I was told that I was asking too early, that I needed to wait until we actually got into the construction phase. I just looked at the website and I don't see any kind of a referral list. Is that something you plan to do, or question, I guess?
Yeah, so good question. No, so as a government entity, we can't really recommend contractors because we can't really show favoritism to contractors, but what we've been doing is providing the city of San Diego's approved contractor list, since that's pretty extensive. So we can email you that if you want
Okay,
to
that'd be
reference it.
fantastic. That would be great if you don't mind. That will just give me an idea. And then assuming that if they're approved by the city of San Diego, they would also be approved by the city of Del Mar.
Very likely, or if they're not, they'll just need to get a business license through the city of
Okay.
Del Mar.
Okay, great. Thank you. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe John or
Okay.
Miguel, if you have that list, can you send it to Karen?
Yeah, it's in our fax and I'll.
Oh, it's
Oh, it's
okay.
in the FAQs. I didn't look there. So
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look on the FAQs and I'll email you if I don't see it.
Karen, there's
Yeah.
a link in the FAQs to a website that has that information.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the time you guys are giving us tonight.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for your question. Okay. Sorry, going down the list here. Okay. So those who have your hand raised, you all declined to be promoted to ask questions. So I'm going to assume you do not have any questions. Okay. And if anyone else have any questions, this is your opportunity to ask them now. However, it's not your final. Okay, we have a new person. I should have promoted you, Brad. Okay. Hey, Brad. If you unmute, you can ask your question, Brad. Allison? Okay. I'll assume you did not have a question.
Okay. There he is.
Oh, Brad, did you have a question? Sorry, I can't hear you right now. Okay. NC, did you have a question? Hello?
Hi, can you hear me? I'm a
I
mystery
hear
caller.
you.
Oh, fantastic. A couple of quick questions. We have a duplex. Will we need two laterals or one lateral going to cover it?
I would say give us an opportunity to look at your specific situation. Is there an address you wanted to share with us, and I can have John or Miguel reach out to you?
Yeah, that'd be fine. It's 141 143 10th Street. That's
Okay.
question number one. And if he reaches
And-
out, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and you should have received an exhibit and a service order from SDG&E, which shows it, but I could have John or Miguel help you out there.
That'd be great. I appreciate it. Just a few other quick questions. Will the entire city of Del Mar have undergrounding of all the poles, or is it just the sections that you're identifying now? And only if the budget comes in will you expand it beyond that?
Okay, great question. So the way the undergrounding program was designed was to build out the program in phases or districts, really. And so there's 8 districts, and this is one of the first ones, is Stratford Court 1A. So currently the one that's going into construction is only this one in Stratford Court South, which runs from approximately 4th Street to 12th Street. That's the current one that's going into construction. Now, the other districts are in different phases right now. For example, Esplanade is nearing completion of design and nearing construction. And also the city is undergoing a financial analysis to help determine funding the future districts as well as timing.
Okay, well,
So
I hope the whole city gets to have the poles underground. I think it will make it much more attractive besides the other fire risk as well. So the other question I have for you is, and you've already implied that there's going to be other telecom going underground at the same time, but I'm not quite clear. Does that mean that AT&T, Spectrum, Cox, everyone will be using the same trenches, or is that not correct?
That's correct. So pretty much the bulk of construction is called a joint trench. And we install one trench that places the power and the telecom into the same trench. We place all the conduit in there, and then the telecom, our city contractor installs the conduit, and then the telecom and SDG&E do the wire pull later on through that same trench and conduit.
But the other companies like AT&T, Spectrum, Cox, the internet, fiber optic, they'll all be using the same trench complex then, is that correct?
That's correct. And it'll
Okay.
be AT&T, Spectrum, Charter, Crown Castle, and AT&T.
Okay, good.
Did
The
I miss any?
yeah, the more the merrier. Let them all go in one place. Another question for you is, Rancho Santa Fe had a system where the community itself decided to bring internet in, and they had fiber optic laid, and they ripped up all the streets to do it. Don't want to do it twice. Has Del Mar considered bringing in high-speed fiber optic for the whole community, as long as you're trenching everything? Will that be an opportunity for them, if you decide to do something like that, to use that trench? Can they pull through cables later on?
So I remember there was discussion of this previously, and I believe at the time it didn't really make sense to bring those in. I mean, they're welcome to come into the city to install their facilities, but this joint trench is specifically for those existing suppliers in the street.
I'm just wondering if the city has given any thought to that, to look at what Rancho Santa Fe did. At least what I hear from the people in the community is they're really pleased. They're saying it's a much faster, much more secure internet than the other companies have been offering. So yes, it's ripping up the streets, but if you're already going to be trenching, if there's an opportunity to at least explore that, I would encourage the city of Del Mar to communicate with the community of Rancho Santa Fe. Was it worth doing, not worth doing, anything to be learned to take advantage of the trenching while you're going to be trenching the whole city eventually? Might as well start off with the right foot, getting the right services in, because technology is moving quickly. And if you have the ability to pull it through and use the existing trenches without digging up the streets, that would be nice.
Yeah, so I could look into that particular
Okay.
situation. As of right now, though, the construction that's proceeding is already designed, so we are proceeding with the designed and approved construction at the moment.
Got it. Okay. And as far as the contractors, and I'm not sure if I understand correctly, are you going to be sending a list of electricians out to all the residents so they can communicate with these people to get a proposal or a bid to bring the lateral from the home or to the SDG&A tie-in?
Yeah, so actually, as John mentioned in his prior response, we actually do have a link to that. And if you go to the undergrounding program website to the facts section, there's a long FAQ document, and in there there
Yes.
should be a link to the City of San Diego approved contractors.
Okay, great. And is there any opportunity for the residents to band together to try to negotiate a group price to try to get 10, 15, 20 people to say, we're going to use the same contractor. He's going to give us 30% off. And yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, and I would encourage you to work with your neighbors to get a better deal with the contractors, because typically as you group together, you can get a better price. And also, we previously reached out to homeowners about allowing us to share your emails.
Yes.
We typically do not share other individuals' private emails unless they give us permission.
Yes.
So we have a small list of about 5 or 6 people that have agreed to share that I'm going to send an email out to. But if you would like the city to help, spread your email so that others can reach out to you, you can email us at up@delmar.ca.us and let us know that you would like us to do that.
We'll do that. I would like that. And I wonder if maybe the Del Mar Community Foundation wants to be the ringleader, and the savings we can all donate to the Del Mar Community Foundation. So it'll be a win-win for the community as well. And my last comment, and it's going to be slightly tongue-in-cheek, infrastructure ages, I'm getting there too, but the water lines, gas lines, I'm sure they're 70 plus years old. I don't know what the lifespan of those are. If you're trenching, does it make sense to replace the gas lines or other things at the same time, or don't even bother with that?
So that's a good question. So our public works director and other principal engineer kind of evaluate our infrastructure needs and determine when to install those. So I will bring that up to them before we pave the street if there's any potential to fix any of these, but I know there's certain budgetary requirements and certain priority of infrastructure improvements.
Understood. So
So
here's my
we'll see if it makes sense.
I appreciate that. And here's my last tongue-in-cheek comment. You might see if you can go while you're trenching to build a tunnel for the train system to go through underground as well. Okay, I'm teasing. You're not going to be trenching that deep.
That's a good idea.
We're actually trenching all the way to Vegas, so you don't have to drive in.
You and Elon Musk. Good work.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. And I have Eric. I know you have a question. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, I have a simple question. What's the best email if we have a question about our specific property? I'm almost positive I need I need to do the lateral extensions, but I never received a permit to enter or any.
What's your address, sir?
156 158 7th Street.
But this is John Stevenson. Let me review it, and I will. I'm making a note to call you tomorrow.
Okay, can I give you my number?
That'd be great too. Go ahead.
Yeah, 425-753-6236.
Great, thank you.
And our power comes in off of Little Orphan Alley.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good job, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Okay, I think okay. Sorry, Dave. I'm not sure if you had a question or not. Okay. Okay, Dave, you showed decline to be promoted, so I'll assume you did not have a question. Okay, is there any other questions? Oh. Okay. Okay, hi, Ben. Do you have another question? You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I previously sent in information to be included on the mailings or the electronic transmission of messages. I haven't been receiving anything how do I go about making sure I get registered?
So so you didn't receive the Friday communication?
No.
Okay, so an option for you is to either sign up on the website by, if you go to the City of Del Mar front page website, at the middle of the page, there's a button that says notify me. You click that, and then you sign up for the UUD 1A Stratford Court South. Or another option for you is you can email up@delmar.ca.us and we'll add you to that.
Great, I'll do so. Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay. Okay, Dave, I think you're here. Do you have a question or a comment?
Okay, so this is for NC. You go talk to Jack Yeager. He's been trying to, Jack Yeager's your neighbor. He's been trying to get together a group of people on 10th Street that will work on a mutual contractor. Also, great job, Martin.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
The other end of that, I guess the other question is, and Tom Grindle kind of talked about that, or actually, most likely, Stratford Court will not be closed. We'll always have one lane open on Stratford Court, correct?
Yes, we are avoiding closing Stratford Court because that would divert traffic onto Camino Del Mar, and we really don't want to do that. So very likely Stratford Court should remain two-way, or hopefully worst case is one-way with flaggers.
Yeah.
But we are coordinating with that, with the contractor. They asked if they could close it potentially, but we told them to avoid that at all costs. So.
Great.
Okay, thank you. I do not see any other questions. But it's not your last opportunity to ask any questions, as I previously mentioned. If you have any more questions, you can contact John Stevenson, and his contact was on the slide, and I will post that on the city's website as well. And if you have any general questions, you can also email up@delmar.ca.us and ask your questions. Again, I encourage you to sign up for Notify Me. We'll be sending electronic communications through that, and the contractor will be sending out physical notifications as well, hard copies such as door hangers. So thank you all for joining us today. I'm glad we were able to cover the construction phase for 1A, and we're really excited to get going and look forward to communicating with you. So have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.